I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I have the roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Harrison.
Present.
Mr. Williamson.
Present.
Ms. Hurd.
Present.
Mr. Corrado.
Present.
Mr. Hoagie.
Present.
Ms. Howard.
Present.
Mr. Lumpkin.
Here.
Ms. Matthew Stinson.
Present.
Mr. Wexler.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. We're now at the approval of the consent agenda. You've received a copy of the agenda. Are there any changes or additions you'd like to make to the agenda? Hearing none, we will consider the agenda approved as presented. The minutes of the meeting on November 6th were presented for review to all board members prior to today's meeting. Unless there is any board member who requests a reading of the minutes, I will ask if there are any corrections or additions to the minutes as presented. Having heard no requests for a reading of the minutes nor any corrections or additions, the minutes stand approved as presented. We're now at committee reports. Mr. Lumpkin.
Thank you, Madam President. The Finance Personnel and Planning Committees met for a jointly held meeting on November 20th. And as a result of the committee is recommending 6 action items for the board's consideration. Action item number 2, operating and capital budgets. Greater Dayton RTA's total operating revenues for 2019 are projected at $63.92 million, while total operating expenses are projected at $64.03 million. This budget scenario reflects a loss of $0.11 million before local depreciation charge and a loss of $2.69 million after local depreciation charges. The annual $4.2 million loss of Medicaid managed care sales tax revenue has dramatically impacted the RTA's operating budget. Furthermore, ongoing cost of project mobility services has created a funding imbalance. The CEO and the Department of Directors will be working early in the year to identify operational adjustments to deal with the current projected shortfall and work towards a balanced budget. The operational adjustments could include service modifications. Regarding capital budget, expenditures for 2019 are projected $64.53 million and $51.18 million funded from federal and other local sources. At the same time, projected RTA will fund $13.35 million of total cost. RTA's share may be reduced if additional federal or state grants are awarded. 5-year capital budget includes many necessary revenue vehicle purchases, including 41 dual-mode buses at a cost of $54.13 million, 39 diesel buses at a total of $18.37 million, and 50 demand response services buses at a total cost of $4.22 million. Ms. Danforth and Mr. Rosinski provided a detailed presentation at the meeting, and the supporting information is included in the packet. They are both available to answer any questions the board may have at this time. Hearing none, based upon the recommendation of the committee, I move to adopt the fiscal year 2019 operating and capital budgets. Approval of the operating and capital budgets will allow the Secretary Treasurer to file the appropriate documents with the Montgomery County Auditor and receive a certificate authorizing 2019 expenditures.
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and second that action item number 2, the 2019 operating and capital budgets, be accepted. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Abstentions? Motion carries. Action item number 2, the 2019 operating and capital budgets is approved.
Action item number 3, resolution number 2018-12-1, 2019 annual appropriations. The trustees' adoption of fiscal year 2019 operating and capital budgets will establish budget limits for the upcoming year. Trustees' approval of resolution number 2018-12-1 will appropriate the needed funds to carry out activities approved by the budget documents. Ms. Stanford provided a detailed explanation at the meeting, and supporting information is included in today's package, and she is available for anyone who might have questions at this time. And hearing none, based on the recommendations of the committee, I move that the Board of Trustees approve Resolution Number 2018-12-1, Fiscal Year 2019 Annual Appropriations.
I'll second that.
It has been properly moved and second that action item number 3, resolution number 2018-12-1, 2019 annual appropriations be approved. Question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Abstentions. Motion carries. Action item number 3, resolution number 2018-12-1, 2019 annual appropriations is approved.
Action item number 4, Employee Assistance Program. The RTA continues to care about the health and welfare of its approximate 700 employees, particularly as it affects on-the-job performance and behavior. Therefore, the RTA is seeking firms to provide Employee Assistance Program, EAP, to provide confidential counseling services to assist employees and their families in various areas of their lives. This project is consistent with RTA's core values of safety, stewardship, and our people as we demonstrate our commitment to the physical and mental wellness of our employees and all the lives that they affect and interact with on a daily basis. The successful vendor will be responsible for ensuring RTA's employees receive full confidential and necessary care to manage their well-being. This provides an outlet for our employees in a way to deal with the loss of everyday stress that comes with life. If this service is withheld, it could have a negative impact on not only our employees, but also the customers of RTA services. Mr. Stevens provided a detailed explanation at the committee meeting, and the supporting information is in the packet today. He is also available for any questions the board may have at this time. Hearing none, based on the recommendations of the committee, I move the Board of Trustees approve a contract award to Employee Care of Premier Community Health for an employee assistance program for a firm fixed fee of $28.44 annually per employee. Based on an estimated 700 employees, it is anticipated that the total award will not exceed $19,908 annually, or $39,816 for the base 2 years, plus the $19,908 for each of the option years, for an estimated $39,816 for a grand total of $79,632. The actual award amount may vary depending on changes of the number of employees. Funds for the Employee Assistance Program are included in the operating budget.
There's a motion on the floor. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that action item number 4, Employee Assistance Program, be approved. Question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Abstentions.
Aye.
We have 2 abstentions on the vote. That's Ms. Howard and Ms.
Stinson.
Stinson.
Thank you.
Motion is carried.
Action item number 5, purchase of maintenance service trucks. RTA is seeking bids for the purchase of 4 maintenance trucks. These trucks will replace aged service trucks in the maintenance fleet. This project is consistent with RTA's core value of safety and stewardship. These trucks are being manufactured by RTA's detailed specification and designed to support of diesel and trolley revenue bus fleet. These fully equipped service trucks support daily maintenance operations by meeting the demands of on-the-road calls and technicians and other such related work. Mr. Brown provided a detailed explanation at the committee meeting, and the support information is included in today's package, and he is also available for any questions that the board may have at this time. Hearing none, based upon the recommendations of the committee, I move that we approve a contract award to Stoops Freightliner for the amount of $670,888 for the purchase of 4 maintenance service trucks with the steel body option and a 3% contingency of $20,127 to address any necessary changes to the final build design. for a total contract award of $691,015. This procurement will be funded 80% through federal grant funds.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that action item number 5, purchase of maintenance service trucks, be approved. Question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Abstentions? Motion carries. Action item number 5, purchase of maintenance service trucks, is approved.
Action item number 6, light transit vehicles for the 5310 Federal Grant Program and RTA fleet needs. RTA is a regional partner with the 5310 Federal Grant Program, which is designed to improve transportation options to the senior and disabled community. The program administered by the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission, and the federal grant is managed by RTA. RTA has been a partner in this program since 2015. As part of our partnership role, RTA will be purchasing small buses and vans for use by area agencies which have applied for and been approved for funding by MVRPC. RTA receives and manages the federal grant to fund up to 80% of the program costs, and the projected partners will fund the full local share. Mr. Rosinski provided a detailed explanation at the committee meeting, and supporting information is in today's package, and he's available for any questions the board may have at this time. Hearing none, based upon the recommendations of the committee, I move to approve a contract award to Whitworth Bus for up to 5 light transit vehicles at a cost not to exceed $400,000, and a contract to American Bus for the purchase of up to 15 accessible modified minivans at a cost not to exceed $600,000 for a total award of $1 million. This procurement is being funded with up to 80% federal funds, and all 5310 vehicles will have the local share funded by the receiving agencies. There's no cost of capital to the RTA on this procurement.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and second that action item number 6, the light transit vehicles for the 5310 Federal Grant Program and RTA fleet needs, be approved. Question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Abstentions? Motion carries. Action item number 6 is approved.
Action item number 7, Administrative Employee Compensation Guide. The Greater Dayton RTA has an Administrative Employee Compensation Guide for non-union employees. Periodically, if not annually, the compensation guide is reviewed and adjusted. A recommendation has been to adjust the current compensation guide throughout by 2% or adjust for changes in the Consumer Price Index. There are no implied or express guarantees on wage increases. Mr. Stevens provided a detailed explanation at the meeting, and supporting information is included in today's package, and staff is available for any questions the board may have at this time. And hearing none, based upon the recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the 2019 Administrative Employee Compensation Guide.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that action item number 7, Administrative Employee Compensation Guide, be approved. Question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Abstentions? Motion carries. Action item number 7, the Administrative Employee Compensation Guide, is approved.
Do have the additional items to mention, the 2018 sales tax update. At the meeting, Ms. Beard reported August 2018 sales tax receipts equals $3,151,630, and State of Ohio transitional aid $172,957. Grand total of $3,324,587 reflects a 3.6 or $125,000 decrease versus August of 2017. The good news is that we're up $25,000 versus August 2018. Year-to-date, August 2018 sales tax equals $24,841,025. State of Ohio transitional aid, $3,271,286. Grand total of $28,112,311 reflects a 2.1 or $589,000 increase versus year-to-date August 2017. As compared to a year-to-date budget, we are up $356,000 positive variance. The October 2018 financial statements, Ms. Beard reported the month of October, a net loss after local depreciation is $528,000 compared to a budgeted net loss of $170,000. Operating revenues were $45,000 above budget, while operating expenses excluding depreciation were $388,000 over budget. RTA's local depreciation expense was $2,000 under budget, while non-operating revenues were $15,000 under budget. In summary, operating expenses overruns created the month's negative result. RTA's October year-to-date net loss after local depreciation is $488,000 compared to a year-to-date budgeted net loss of $247,000. Operating revenues were $157,000 above budget, while operating expenses excluding depreciation were $498,000 over budget. RTA's local depreciation expense was $35,000 under budget, while non-operating revenues were $65,000 above budget. At the end of October, we are tracking very close to budget. The details and variance explanations are associated with the financial statements included in today's board package. And that will conclude my report, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Lumpkin. The Planning Committee, Ms. Howard.
Yes. The Finance, Personnel, and Planning Committees met for a jointly held meeting on November 20th. And while we do not have any action items to bring before you, we do have important updates to provide. At the committee meeting, Mr. Brandon Polachicchio provided a summary document of recent activities in the Customer and Business Development Department. The highlight of the meeting was the launch of the downtown circulator route, the Flyer, which hit the streets for the first time on November 9th after a launch party that was held in downtown Dayton at Courthouse Square. The Flyer connects dozens of destinations between Riverscape Metro Park and the University of Dayton campus. This fast service has a 10-minute or less wait time and connects workers, students, and visitors in downtown Dayton to area parking, restaurants, and entertainment. Since the launch on November 9th, RTA employees have been riding the buses at peak times, communicating with customers about how the service works and collecting feedback. Other announcements included a recap of the day of free rides that the RTA offered on Election Day, November 6th, to ensure all had access to use their right to vote. Right counts from the day show that more than 26,000 customers boarded that day, up from 24,600 customers who rode on Election Day in 2017. On Wednesday, December 12th, the RTA will hold its annual Get Healthy for the Holidays Health Fair at Wright Stop Plaza from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Blood pressure, blood sugar screening, and flu shots will be available on a first-come, first-served basis. Other health partners, including Homeful and Public Health Dayton and Montgomery County, will be at the event to talk about chronic, preventable conditions such as diabetes, as well as information about new and current health services offered in the Dayton region. This event is free and open to the public. This concludes my report, Madam President. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Howard. Next thing on the agenda is the Chief Executive Officer's report. Mr. Donahue.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple informational items. The board is aware I spent most of last week in Washington, D.C. For meetings with both APTA, our trade association, and the Bus Coalition, of which we are a member of, and I'm on the steering committee. It was probably one of the best attended and most well-managed events I've been to. I spent literally all day Thursday from 7:30 in the morning till almost 6 o'clock in the evening on the Hill, and then most of the day Friday as well. And we were able to meet with some of the key leaders, especially in the budget process that we're dealing with right now, including Representative DeFazio, who will be the new chairman of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, and the actual staff members on both the House and Senate side for all the appropriating committees. So it was time really well spent. Interestingly, I understand they kicked the can about a week here on the current spending bills. The current spending bills that are pending there, the House and Senate versions, are both very positive for transportation. In fact, each one is plussed up in their terms, one by 400 million. The House version is the one we like best. It has 550 million extra in bus replacement funding. So we're hopeful. It was our understanding by the time we left the end of last week that there had been an agreement between the House and Senate on what the final number would be. They didn't give it to us, of course, but the indication was we would be pleased, which is good. So the only concern left for most people was this little thing about the wall. And if that was part of any settlement, where would that money come from? And we did receive a verbal assurance that it would not come from the transportation budget. So that looks pretty solid for this year. And then the discussion in Washington is now moving towards infrastructure again. Will there be an infrastructure package? And I think both sides that we met with seemed pretty confident that that was an area that with the new Congress could be a discussion point and there could be some success on. I think it says a lot about what's happened over the last few years, and our involvement with the bus coalition especially, I think has really been fruitful for us. So the money's out of the bus and bus facilities. That's the fund that we were able to restore with the leadership of the bus coalition. And that $5.25 million grant we just received a few weeks back is out of that fund, and it's been a great addition, and it's really going to help not only us but other systems across the country. So really time well spent. It was worth taking the time to go to DC last week. I noticed, you probably noticed a few empty seats over there. We've exiled a couple people to colder weather climates. Mr. Rosinski is helping one of his friends in the state of New Hampshire. We sent Brandon to Flint, Michigan this week, and he's doing some work there. Flint is doing some really great work on the alternative transit side. And Flint, I met the CEO of the Flint system and the bus coalition actually, and got to talking to him, and I encouraged Brandon to go up there for a visit and see what they're doing. So that's where they're in these sunny locations this week instead of being here at the meeting. One last item I wanted to mention, just a few short hours ago, I was in the city of Columbus, and I took my first ride in Ohio on an autonomous vehicle. The Smart Circuit, which is going to launch this coming Monday, and we were asked not to post anything on social media till 5 o'clock this afternoon, so I'll wait. But a number of us who were involved in Drive Ohio and other events got invited to a presentation and then a ride on the vehicles here this afternoon. It's the beginning of a whole new era, and it was an interesting ride, and we had some great back and forth with the people from May Mobility. They're out of Michigan. They're the folks that are operating the Columbus shuttle that's going to be in place there. And obviously there's a lot more to be done. The vehicles are very small. They only hold really 5 passengers. And they're not what I would say fully autonomous. There is someone on board just in case. So I would argue it's semi-autonomous today. Maybe eventually we'll see it go fully autonomous. But these are discussions that are happening. It's all going to be part of the greater network, I think, down the road. And one of the debates that we had in Columbus today was, what's this going to do? It's not going to replace fixed route transit. It just can't. It doesn't have the capacity. It's not that big yet. But to me, it's going to be one part of the greater network, like our bicycle program here. Some cities have scooters. Who knows? They may appear here before you know it. But to me, it's all going to be part of this greater network of options that people are going to have, and it was kind of fun to do. So next time you're in Columbus, it'll launch next Monday. It's a very short loop around the COSI facility and along Civic Center Boulevard, and it ties into the Smart City headquarters there. But it'd be worth a try if you get there just to check it out. It's free, runs every 10 minutes, sounds familiar. But it'll be a great addition for them, obviously, and it'll be a lot of fun. So more to come on that. As I think I reported last month, we've been working with Drive Ohio on a possible project for us here in Dayton, maybe something to further connect what we're doing with our flyer service. We'll see how that goes. And unless there are questions, that's all I have to report.
Mark, we recently went through a bomb scare in our area. Have they ever found the person who placed this mechanism next door? And has he or she been what was it meant to be a prank? Was it meant, what what more have we learned, I guess?
Well, I know that the day, actually, before we reopened, our security staff had identified the individual off of our video system, even though the package was not on our property. It was on the property, the Air City Garage property. But I don't know, Skip, if the police, it was turned over to the police. I don't know if they've apprehended the person yet or not.
It contained two, mobile speakers and like a big mobile DVD player. He was actually selling things out of it before he placed it behind it. We watched him.
I do want to throw a rose at our operations team, who obviously, this is something we plan for. We have an alternative plan. It primarily works by reverting back to 3rd Street. It's kind of like going back to the way we used to do business. And I don't know, we must have been 30 minutes in, and one of the cops walked up to me and said, "We're closing 3rd Street." And I said, I don't think I have a backup for my backup. So I told Mr. Caldwell, Mr. Bailey, we had to, on short order, do something on the fly. They did a great job, and it happened to be a very cold morning, so our customers had to be moved a couple times. But interestingly, the customers were resilient. They were like, it's like old school. It's like being back out on 3rd and Main, which is fascinating because we have a lot of bus drivers who have been hired since we left 3rd and Main and didn't remember those days. But in that way, I think it worked out really well. And once people understood what was going on, they were very understanding. It did take a while. I think it was several hours before we managed to get the facility back open. But like all things in this arena, once a package was identified, I think it was identified by a person sitting in this room, one of our employees. Mr. Harrington was the guy, and he was the one that gave the heads up to the police, and they immediately started the steps, and we're going to take precautions when we need to. Thankfully, it turned out to be a non-event, but that's that. So I'd say the silver lining is we now have a backup to the backup when we need it to make things work here.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, we're moving on to old business. And the only thing I have under old business is we did have a person that came and asked a question or presented a problem to us, several people, in fact, with the phone system and being able to use it. Have we dealt with that? How has it been? Is it resolved, or where do we stand?
So the issue was resolved within a few days. They made some adjustments to the phone system, and what was necessary, if you recall, the discussion was a longer lag time before the phone system just moved on to give the person more time. And when they told me they had a fix and they were certain, I said, well, how are you certain? We need to test this. So they engaged Mary Ellen and Lauren, the two individuals who made the complaint, to have them test it for us. And my understanding is that they were comfortable with the adjustments we made.
Okay.
Interestingly, in the room at the time was Linda from our IT department, who manages the phone system. She was already working on the solution before this meeting ended last month, and that's what sped the results. But everything's fine now, as we understand.
Okay, great.
I will add a comment here, and this is something Chris and I talk a lot about, this idea that the more we add technology, and there's all these new systems, we've got to work even harder to police these systems and do quality checks to make sure that we test these things on a regular basis and make sure they work, to the extent that we expect them to and the public does. We don't want to wait until there's a complaint to know. That's something that I wish we could have identified sooner.
Right.
But I think it's something that when you don't have issues personally, it doesn't come to your mind. But I could relate soon as they brought it to us. So I don't fault anybody for not being prepared for it, but responding to it quickly is what makes the difference.
Well, Chris and I are working on a project. He's got a plan where we will literally dedicate man-hours to testing all these things on a regular basis. Because sometimes it'll be a simple thing as I have your app, but my bus stop number doesn't seem to work anymore. And that could be the bus stop got moved and the geocode wasn't fixed. So that's something he and I have talked about at length, and we are going to dedicate some some effort to trying to get ahead of that, because I hate it when it has to come from a customer. That means we failed already, if it comes from them. So our end game's gonna be test all these things, whether it's our website, to the apps that we have, and we're gonna add more of these things. So that's gonna be our end game, is to have some people focused on, they will be our Mama No Zippo team, because she's been my quality control person for years, unpaid as she is. Whenever I get a beep on my phone and it's her, I know we've got an issue, and she's out there. So we have to become her, basically, is the way I kind of see this, if we're gonna get to that, best-in-class level.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other old business? Moving on to new business. No new business. It's now time for public comment. I have one request, and it is from Mr., is that Hawkins?
Mr. Hutchinson.
Hutchinson, okay, I'm sorry, I couldn't read it. Mr. Hutchinson, and Mr. Hutchinson, as you make your comments, you will start by giving your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes to make your comments, and the light will turn green and then yellow when you have, I said I was gonna put my words together for this, and that didn't get done. When you have a minute left, I think, and then it will be, turn yellow, and then it will go to red, and you'll have to sit down at that time. And any comments you make should be for you. You can't speak for anyone else. Okay, thank you.
Ellis Hutchinson, 211 South Wilkerson, Dayton, Ohio, 45402, apartment 210. Well, I have a couple of comments to make. One of my concerns have always been, since I've come down here, I would, and I know you ladies and gentlemen worked hard, but I think it would be a service to the community if some type of way you find to have these meetings at a different place and a different time in the community. 3 o'clock in the afternoon seems a little difficult for working people and other people to be able to make a meeting. But I'm sure y'all workload is what it is, and you're not trying to work anymore. But I'm sure the people would appreciate it. I had another comment that about there was a bus stop at Grimes, I think it was, not at Grimes, it's Martin Luther King Way, and in front of Frank's or Tasty Birds. That bus stop was shut down and was moved right down the street. But they didn't take the trash can with the bus stop. And the people in the community, I'm really proud of the people. They're really trying to keep the trash down. Somebody went and got one of those little crates and putting that trash in the crate. So even though they don't have a trash can, they're trying to accommodate that and keep the community clean. I'm really proud of that effort. That corner is at the corner of Horse and I said Martin Luther King Way. It's the big lot right there.
Is that the eastbound stop? The
No,
one
it's
headed downtown?
headed west. Well, it would be, yeah, it's on the east
The
side.
one headed
Yeah,
downtown.
It's on the east side, yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. The other thing I wanted to speak about, and I know you know because y'all had Rosa Parks' picture in the buses during Black History Month. This is not Black History Month, but irregardless, the bus boycott started December the 5th, 1955. So myself and some other people in the community, we're trying to commemorate that historical event, and we're sponsoring a number of activities in the community, trying to celebrate and recognize that period of time. I had contacted you probably too late, but I would like to have been able to recognize some of the first black bus drivers. I think it's pretty sure that if we weren't riding the bus, we wasn't driving the bus. So I would like to know who some of the first Dayton black bus drivers were. We're going to be showing the movie, The Montgomery Bus Boycott, Northwest Library, which is the corner of Hillcrest and Philadelphia, on December
Go ahead and finish the date.
on December the 18th at 6 o'clock. And that's the brand new library. And I think that was Fairview High School before
Yes,
it was the
yes.
library. And it's going to be there, and it's free and open to the public. That was a very significant time in our history, and I think people might learn something from watching that movie.
Thank you.
Ellis, so I'm just confirming, that's at MLK and Horace, right? The one that's east of Tasty Bird, okay. That's Ms. Calloway's stuff, so I'll make sure she's another one of my buddies.
Madam President,
Yes.
and he is correct, because I just Googled it. The bus boycott started on December 5th, 1955, and went through December 20th. So I think it would be good if there's something that our marketing folks can quickly do to pull that off or do something, whether or not it's on the web or whatever. I think that's a very fair point.
All right. We'll put that on Mark's plate to handle.
Happy to do it. I had the great pleasure to meet Rosa Parks back in the late 90s. She was very frail then, but still full of juice, let me tell you.
And my correction, the boycott ran from December 5th, 55 through December 20th, 1956.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I do have glasses on.
All righty now. Okay, next thing on the agenda is board member comments and announcements. Let's start with you, Ms. Howard.
I just want to say, on behalf of our employees at Premier Health, we are really excited about the circulator. We use the internal social media platform of Yammer for our employees, and our employees have been posting pictures since November 9th of employees who have meetings at Miami Valley or vice versa using the circulator. So that has really helped our employees, as well as getting them downtown from the convention center.
Thank you.
I'd like to also add, the University of Dayton has really seen some benefit from the circulator as well. Students with jobs downtown have been telling us how they're using it and love it, as well as just for other activities and events. So it's been great.
Mr. Corrado.
Yeah, while we're throwing roses, I'd like to throw one. This morning, I spent this morning over at Kettering Medical Center's Cancer Center, and I was leaving about noon, and I don't know if any of you has ever been over to Kettering's Cancer Center, but all the treatments are done up on the 5th floor. And so I was all by myself, and I walked out to the elevator, and there was this elderly lady with a cane kind of dragging herself across the floor to get to the elevator. So I kind of engaged her and held the door open for her, and when we got in the elevator, I said to her, "Are you all alone?" And she says, oh yeah. She says, "I'm just so glad to get my treatments done and get home." I said, "Well, how are you going to get home?" Well, by the time we got to the ground floor, she says, "Well, RTA is coming for me." And I thought, what a great thing. And I was going to offer to take her home, but I could see she didn't want any part of me. But I just felt like she got off the elevator and she shuffled over to, the gal who acts like the concierge over there and was waiting for her ride. And I thought, this is what we're up here for. This is our mission.
Yep.
And she had no other way to get there. So I just couldn't help but mention it. But she was up there all by herself with nobody to get chemo, and that is a very hard thing to do. So I just want to share that with everybody, and I guess we should throw a rose to everybody.
Stinson.
It's hard for me to follow that story, but I too am so excited about the circulator. On the very first day I rode it, the inaugural tour, but I told them to drop me off at the convention center. So as we approached the convention center, I yelled at the driver, "Drop me off at the convention center." And I got to the front and he said, "Ma'am, I know you're not accustomed to riding the bus, but you're supposed to pull that." So your staff, they have been amazing, showing me how to use the app and understanding which direction it's going. So thank you for the experience.
Okay, top that, Sharon.
You know, I'm gonna pass. I didn't have to tell them where to let me off. I just got off when they stopped and just. I didn't think about pulling that cord either, and I used to ride the bus every day when I was in high school, and I didn't even think about that. So I was glad I didn't have to tell him when to stop, because I usually have a bigger mouth than than Miss Stinson. Oh, shoot. Okay, I'm gonna pass. I don't have anything to add.
Just want to refrain the kudos on the circulator. My wife and I have ridden it, and I think, as a comment to Mr. Weckesser, I think we're going to try tonight to pick up the flyer, take it to Brown and Caldwell, pick up the O-Lot shuttle, take that over to the arena for the game, and then double back and never have to get in our car to go to the UD basketball game.
Oh, good.
I have
Yes,
no
Mr.
problem.
Holt. Thank you.
I too.
I hadn't said your name.
I just jumped in there.
Okay. I probably wouldn't have remembered it anyway.
You know what I mean. But the circulator, I want to give kudos to the circulator also. Have been on it a couple times. Surprisingly to us, you cannot take your children into Canal Street Tavern after 5 o'clock. So there's a stop right outside of there. The consolation for not being able to play free Donkey Kong for my son was we went and got ice cream. So it's very useful, and I've talked to several people that work downtown that have been using it. So I think that's been a added asset to our community. It's well received.
Well, I have discovered a new use for RTA. For those of you who've ever ridden with me, I am directionally challenged.
True. Oh.
And whenever I'm coming from whenever I'm downtown and have to go to Huber Heights, I just get on Kiowee and get on Valley and drive until I hit a street that I know that has a name that sounds like it belongs in Huber Heights. And yesterday, I didn't know that the streets closed in front of the Children's Medical Center. You can only go one way coming into town. And everywhere I turned, it was and by the time I make 2 turns, I'm lost. And then I saw a sign that said, RTA, temporary stop. So I said, RTA has figured a way around this, because RTA goes out. So I just said, I'll wait for a bus.
Pitiful.
So I waited at the temporary stop until the bus came. And then I followed it till it got me to Huber Heights.
Okay, I'm not sure, Sharon, between Adrian and Belinda.
Oh, bless their
So
hearts.
thank you very much for putting up the temporary sign so that I didn't stay lost.
Whew.
We'll get some data to the board as soon as we can on how things are going. I rode the flyer last night to the Bike Miami Valley board meeting, and on the way there were a bunch of Premier folks coming out talking about Sharon Howard, you know. But on their way, and they seemed quite happy. On the way back, I went to get on the bus, and I could see there was 2 couples coming from the Delco Lofts, you know, to get the same bus, and they got on the bus, and I sensed they were relatively new, but they were not. The one couple had already been using this thing for weeks. They were instructing the other couple on where they were going tonight, how they would get there, how often it runs, grabbing stuff out, you know, giving them the flyers out of the rack. And I'm always feeling like I want to do something, but at the end, all I said, so they said, Fifth Street. I said, okay, Spaghetti Warehouse, right? They said, that's where it is tonight. So you know that people have already said, wow, we're going to get more and more of that, more word of mouth, and I really do think it points to our timing was right. You know, we've talked about this for years, but I think this is the right time to make this happen, so.
Oh, good. I don't know, but did you have anything to say down there, Mr. Legal?
I do not.
Okay, great. It's always good when you're quiet. Oh, I didn't mean it that way.
Mr. Williamson can attest to that.
Okay. I do not believe that there's a need for an executive session today. And I want to thank all of the board members for completing your tasks that I had asked you to have done today. Appreciate that, even though I had to send you a reminder. Oh, did I say that out loud? At this point, we're ready to adjourn. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned.